On June 5, 2005, 6 days after Natalie vanished, police made their first arrests, cuffing former security guards Mickey John and Abraham Jones. But police had the wrong men, according to Beth Holloway. Natalie's mother wanted to know why the 3 locals last seen with her daughter were not the ones in jail. She wondered what was going on.
The level of ineptness, the level of omission of things, blatantly orchestrated, errors, it's just been incredible.
But then, 10 days after Natalie went missing, police did arrest Joran Vandersloot and brothers Deepak and Satish Kalpoe. The suspicion against the 3 came from their own words.
They were asked in detail where the exact point of drop-off was, and they all gave a different answer. That was the fact that really, then we knew something was wrong with their statement. So that inconsistency really brought the light upon them.
And led to?
And led to, yes.
To the arrest.
Police now had 5 suspects. What they didn't have was any hard evidence. In Aruba, suspicion of a serious crime is enough to detain. But to get an indictment for homicide, police needed more.
We have 4 interrogation rooms, of which this is one of them.
A team of detectives repeatedly interrogated the suspects. Joran and the Kalpoe brothers cracked. They admitted to lying, saying they didn't drop Natalie off at her hotel on the night she disappeared.
That changed very quickly. They couldn't hold on to that story.
Chassi Mansour owns Aruba's Diario newspaper and has been covering the case since day 1.
They changed the stories hundreds of times when they were being interrogated, at least Joran, the main suspect. One time he leaves the girl alone on the beach. She fell asleep and he went. Another time she felt sick and he left her sick on the beach. Another time he says that Deepak came to pick him up. Deepak denies this vehemently. Then another time he says, no, it isn't Deepak, it's Satish. Satish denies it too. And so forth and so forth. Stories kept changing with him all the time.
Do nothing, fear nothing.
The lies helped secure the release of Jones and John and led to growing suspicion about Joran and the Kalpoes' involvement.
Legal attaché expressed to me the suspects are now, they're not denying the crime, but they're beginning to implicate each other, meaning that he raped, murdered, and buried. They're finger-pointing. And so that's when they conveyed to me that it was a strong possibility that Natalie was no longer alive.
While Beth tried to cope with the reality that her daughter was likely dead, she took some comfort in knowing that those she believed responsible would be held accountable in some way.
Everything was building, that they had the information they needed to prosecute. They appeared before the judge of instruction, the prosecution, the defense, all of the suspects.
But 3 months after Natalie vanished, authorities still didn't have what they needed to prosecute Joran and the Kalpoe brothers. There was no physical evidence. There were no good witnesses. They didn't have a body, and they couldn't get a straight story out of the 3 young men. It was either the perfect crime, or the 3 suspects didn't really have the answers and were just digging themselves deeper into a hole. Whatever the case, a judge decided authorities didn't have enough to prosecute.
Joran, come talk to us.
On September 3rd, 2005, the 3 suspects were released from jail.
We would like to appreciate to express our happiness to have Joran back in our family life.
While Anita Vandersloot was thankful for the return of her son, another mom was outraged and had just begun to fight.
She has been gone for 97 days. That's 93 days too long.
Natalie's family in the world expects Aruba to return her to her country. I certainly hope that the fight for justice for Natalie has not ended in Aruba, because it's just beginning from our home front in the United States.
On November 8th, 2005, hoping to pressure the island into solving the case, Beth enlisted the help of Alabama Governor Bob Riley to call for a boycott.
So today, Beth and Jug are here to endorse a travel boycott to Aruba. And as governor, I am joining them in this effort.
And Beth Holloway did not let up.
Where are they going with this investigation? Are they staying on track? No. Are they pursuing these perpetrators? It doesn't look good right now. The answers are right here on the island. They're right here with their citizens, with Joran van der Sloot and Deepak and Saltish Kalpo.
She wanted the world to know that the suspects who had lied so many times were being let off the hook by an island that wanted the whole matter to simply go away.
They want to keep things smooth. They want to keep the sand smooth, they want to keep the water smooth, and they want to keep the drinks flowing. But you know, sometimes it just doesn't work like that. You know, sometimes you have a crisis and you have to get your head up out of the sand and face it.
What was it like to have to go home without Natalie from Aruba?
Ooh, that was a hard step because, you know, Bill, I stayed in her room and slept in her bed in the Holiday Inn Hotel for 7 weeks. Parents will do whatever. You know, you were just desperate.
For the rest of my life, I will continue to be the voice for my daughter seeking justice in Aruba. Every parent would want the same justice for their child. And thank you.
But Aruban authorities maintained they did all they could and just did not have enough evidence to support a case. A year passed, and Natalie was still missing. In June 2006, a new team of investigators from Holland took charge.
You sometimes need a set or more than one set of fresh eyes in a case.
Hans Moss is the chief prosecutor on the case.
We had new techniques at that time, which we did not have at the time the three were arrested.
Using what Moss called digital forensics, authorities examined computer disks previously seized from Joran van der Sloot and Deepak and Satish Kalpo.
But as you may know, on a hard disk, if you delete, the information is not gone. But you need very high-tech and high-professional specialists and techniques to re-establish all these bits and bytes to make a new picture out of it.
According to Moss, the reassembled data proved Natalie was no longer just a missing teen.
There's no other explanation than that we can conclude that the girl is dead.
And you, in a sense, could have a body, even though you didn't find it.
Sure.
If they were talking about the girl being dead.
Yes.
Natalie's case had slipped from the media's radar. Moss faced an important decision, whether to reignite the fire or continue to let it die down.
I would never forgive myself if we never had taken the chance.
On November 21st, 2007, van der Sloot and the Kalpos were arrested again. The prosecutor knew it was a calculated risk and that he needed more than just the computer chats to secure homicide charges. Moss hoped one of the three suspects would crack, but they didn't. And Joran and the Kalpos were once again free men. The news did not come as a shock to Natalie's mother.
That's all we've had. The blows and the disappointments, yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. That's just it. That's all you get.
Still, Beth continued to pray that one day she could bring her daughter's remains home to Alabama.
That's the biggest concern, that, you know, if she is recoverable, but we still feel like that absolutely something unexpected could happen at any given moment, and that we could at least have a little bit more light on what happened.
And someone could come forward.
Mm-hmm. Yes, something unexpected, I guess I mean. An individual who possesses knowledge.
I'm telling you, honestly, I know what happened to that girl.
Lying to the police was wrong, stupid, just...
Up next, Joran van der Sloot in the media spotlight. Two different stories. One he calls the truth, and the other just an undercover lie. Which can we believe?